Hello and welcome to the Dominion Daily for April 23rd, 2026. We've got Menagerie Corn Guilds, Menagerie and Corn Guilds today. And let's see, we've got Bounty Hunter thinning, as well as, well, Butcher isn't really thinning per se, but it also kind of is. You know how it works. So yeah, Bounty Hunter and Butcher for doing stuff. We'll go with that. And Draw is Advisor and Black Cat and Slay and Way of the Otter. Plus actions from Hostelry and Snowy Village. Gains from Stockpile, Snowy Village, Kiln. Okay, so we've got the Baker token. So we could open Butcher, could open double 4, or we could just open what we would probably open on this board if we didn't have the Baker token, which is Stockpile Bounty Hunter. Not actually clear to me what the best line is there. Bounty Hunter would certainly make it easy enough to pick up a Butcher. So Butcher into Bounty Hunter. Though Butcher Estate into Hostelry and gain a bunch of horses is probably the stronger line in any case. We're probably taking a stockpile either way. I don't think there's any reason to open with 2 4s. I think it's just Butcher versus Bounty Hunter that's the question, and it's a pretty tough question. Not surprised that the bot goes with Butcher. I think the bot is a pretty big fan of Butcher. Certainly Butcher is worse if we don't see an estate with it. But if we do see an estate, as I said, I think the Butcher is probably a little better because of the Hostelry interaction. Getting all those horses into the deck quickly is pretty nice. And then with Hostelry providing plus actions, there's the potential for, like, you know, play Hostelry, play a horse as an otter, and getting to keep the horse, that sort of thing. Yeah, I think I'll go with the Butcher. Did, in fact, find an estate. Okay. Though this is a little... The fact that we see the stockpile here makes it a little trickier. Like, we could just pick up another stockpile. We're fairly likely to hit 4 next turn. But we could only hit... We could end up with just 3. We see the other 2 estates. We could end up with 5. I guess the question is, do we just discard the stockpile for a horse as well? Or do we discard fewer coppers and buy something with the stockpile and the coppers? Like a second Butcher or a Bounty Hunter. We know we'll hit at least 3 next turn, so one thing we could do is go... Like, take 1 horse, buy a Bounty Hunter, and then next turn buy another stockpile to get the stockpiles back. If we hit 5... We could do Pursue Stockpile, potentially. I think I like that. We do, in fact, see both of the estates. All right, here I'm just going to take all the horses. Lots going for black cat spam, I see. Yeah. All right. There is an argument here for exile copper, which is that we'd rather trash a state with butcher. Although on the other hand, there are 2 costs to turn that into. We'll have 8 or 9 coins. What do we do with that? This is only one of our stockpiles, which means we don't necessarily need to get another one. Kiln is probably a little too ambitious. Second butcher, though, could make sense. Or we just do another big hostelry overpay and then add Pursue or Black Cat or something. And just, like, try to draw a deck. That's the play. And we can potentially butcher horses at that point. Is Slay better than Black Cat? Does have some synergy with Butcher. I am a little worried about the Black Cat spam being hard to, like, work around. We can score all in one turn with Butcher stuff, though. I think maybe Slay is better. Well, because Slay can always be played as Otter as well. So we have enough terminal space that we could start ottering now, in theory. I kind of want to play the Slay normally if I can. At least one more horse normally. Okay. Play this one as an otter. I think we have another hostelry down there. We definitely do. Dang it. We have Copper, Butcher, hostelry down there. So we would be sad if we... Fine, I'll play horse normally. Oh. Yeah. Alright. We'd seen the Butcher earlier in the shuffle. We could have done something more exciting here. As it is... Maybe now we do take a Black Cat. I don't think we necessarily super want multiple Slays. Alternatively, we just play the Butcher and discard Copper from another hostelry buy. I think either way we're playing the Slay normally. We have up to 12 coins. We're going to want to get our stockpiles back, so that will leave us with 9 coins. If we were to... we could just buy a hostelry and discard 5 copper. Try again to do gain and play stuff with Butcher. Oh, we could also spend coffers, but I guess it might be nice to have the coffers stored up to be able to turn copper into something more valuable. I guess the trade-off is like every coffer that we spend is another horse that we get, essentially. Put it that way. I mean, we probably just want to butcher horses, right? Rather than bothering to save up coffers, then butcher copper. I think that's the case. And we only have to spend 1 copper anyway, or coffer, rather. So we have 4 hostelries. So we want our 5 terminals to be Butcher, and then maybe gain another Butcher, Slay, and then it could be 2 otter horses. But also otter the bounty hunter. I mean, I would like to, you know, get rid of some more copper. Hostelries are going to run at some point. Okay. We still have a horse left. But we have to discard the sleigh. Damn it. Just a little bit short on the draw here. I mean, I guess we can not play. We can just not play the butcher this turn. We have the actions, but we don't have the draw, or we have the draw, but we don't have the actions. Either way. So, yeah, let's just butcher. I mean, I guess we could butcher the bounty hunter. The other option. That's not crazy. I do want to be thinning coppers, but at the same time, there's still hostelries left, so... How do we do this? We take our... Do we try to top deck a horse by playing the sleigh first, or do we just accept that this horse draws 1 fewer card? I think the latter. I guess we could do copper to hostelry now. If we do that, we have 9 coins. We get 5 horses. Spend 3 coins, another stockpile, and then we have another 6 coins to play with. We could pursue horse and then top deck that way, and then maybe throw like an advisor into the deck or something. Just for draw. That sounds reasonable to me. A lot of horses. So, advisor stockpiles pursue horse. Yeah, that works. Up to 5 black cats. That's still not enough to overcome even a single province, so, and we do have an estate in exile for what that's worth. Okay, that last card should be another hostelry. Now what? Butcher. Horse to butcher. And then just like play. Well, maybe we do another copper to hostelry. Piles are getting a little low. The bot only has 2 stockpiles, though. It's surprising in its own right. Okay, we'll do horse to butcher. Ended up with 1 extra action, which is annoying. Oh well. Alright, so the question is, do we do... I do want to take the last hostelry. I don't think the bot can get 3 stockpiles and 5 black cats and like 2 estates and a duchy. So I'm not super worried about that. I think we can afford to empty hostelries, lower stockpiles, and then do we butcher another copper into hostelry, or do we save some coffers and buy the hostelry? 12 coins from stockpile, 9 once we buy another stockpile. That would leave... I mean, we could just buy, like, hostelry, butcher, hostelry advisor. We butcher into hostelry. Get 1 fewer horse, but we also have 1 fewer copper, so that part's whatever. We're not going to butcher in anything with that. Then what do we buy with our 9 coins? Be butcher advisor. That seems fine. All right, the bot has further lowered piles. We don't actually need to score to win here. I think we can just win on stockpile black cat this turn without ever needing to trigger their black cats. Surely this doesn't do it. Actually, it does. No, it's a little bit short. We butcher 3 coppers into 3 black cats, play 2 stockpiles, buy 2 stockpiles, and we're 1 short. Annoying. I was wondering if I should play one of those hostelries as an otter. Probably the answer was yes. I don't think it matters. Okay. Slay as otter. Butcher. Horse to stockpile. Butcher. Copper to stockpile. Advisor as otter. Butcher. Copper to black cat. Buy 3 black cats. And technically we can buy provinces, and it is positive value even if we get stuck with a million curses. So why not? How many curses do we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Yeah. I don't necessarily think that Black Cat is a bad card on this board or anything, but I do think that this approach is not very good. The Mass Black Cat. It's just, like... Or at the very least, if you're going to do that, you have to score such that your opponent then has to eat the curses in order to catch up. I mean, I had enough leeway that 1 province wouldn't have prevented me from winning, but... And they saw all their black cats, which they were by no means guaranteed to do. Like, that... This deck has 10, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 cards in it. The black cats themselves do, of course, draw cards, but it would have been very easy, I think, for me to only get, like, 2 or 3 curses. I guess I also wasn't considering that I could have piled on curses, right? Instead of buying the black cats, I could have bought the province. Yeah, in fact... I mean, I don't know if this would have been correct. Well, I guess if I know I can safely take a province. So, yeah, the point is, I could buy the province first, right? And then boom, 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 boom. And then... If I buy 1, 2, 3, 4 curses, then I can buy double province and I get 1 more point. Okay, so not a big difference, admittedly. But yeah, there was another option there. But yeah, I think the bot needed to take a points lead if it was going to play that way. But mostly I also just think it didn't get enough deck control. I mean, maybe that seems weird to say. I don't know. It had villages that had draw. Maybe it was really more the payload. I don't know. It just didn't seem like it was doing a whole lot on its turns. Some of its turns, at least. Um, yeah. So yeah, I think there's a world where you end up getting a bunch of black cats and that works out on this board, but I don't think it's what you want to do like early. Um, and I think it's altogether more likely than not that it never really ends up making sense because it's more important to reach have your own reach than to like decrease your opponent's reach, if that makes sense. Like it decreases your opponent's reach because you can react to black cat and give them curses, and that effectively reduces like what they can do. But like um I don't know, I just think it's more important to have your own good stuff here. Like obviously there I was, you know, if I hadn't been trying to pile out, I was capable of like triple provincing or whatever. um So that's the other thing is like 6 black cats don't overcome 3 provinces, right? Like on a board where you can build big enough. So even if the piles weren't low, I would just build, you know, like I did, and then like score a lot. And granted, if I couldn't end the game when I was doing that, then that could get annoying because now I have all these curses in my deck, and that's bad. Like, so it could still be relevant, but not as relevant as when you like have to score like, you know, 1 province at a time or something, and then like that initial batch of curses is just like absolutely devastating. Here it's not really, like you can just kind of play around it. So yeah, like I said, not to say that you couldn't get that to work, but I just don't think it's the priority. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.